has to deal with an overseas story.
I'm sure it's going to be nice and
Yeah.
calm and nothing's going to go wrong with it.
Yeah, I mean,
What can go wrong?
overseas
Here.
foreign news, it's always the good stuff. Let's see. Peace has been restored to the Middle East as the United
Puppies
States withdraws
everywhere?
its final troops from the region is a headline I'd love to be reading, but isn't true.
Oh, boy.
No, instead, everyone's cheering that we've been able to negotiate a 5-day ceasefire, specifically in the northern region of Syria that we have a spat with Turkey about because of the Kurdish people. That's it. That's the story. 5-day ceasefire. Hey, Kurdish people, hey, you know, we
got
let you
5
down
days.
in the past, and we kind of forgot about you again this time. So everybody get the fuck out. You got 5 days.
Yeah.
That's essentially what this amounted to. Like, this still, like, it really, really pisses me off because it falls into multiple categories. Part of it is Trump does something outrageous again. Category, right? His general strategy of just do something outrageous every day so nothing can ever have enough time to gain traction or stick long term. So, hey, let me withdraw troops because that'll get all the war hawks worked up. But let me withdraw troops from a pretty problematic area that people, A, don't understand very well, and there's actually, it's maybe the only legitimate argument for any individual place anywhere in the Middle East for our troops to be for any reason at all. And it has to do with the promise that we made to the Kurdish people decades ago that we have not always held up our end of the bargain on, but also we refuse to involve the international community in helping to bring about a resolution. So we're just sort of committing ourselves long-term to this people group whom we've slighted in the past and don't do a good job of upholding our end of the bargain. And here we are again, not upholding our end of the bargain on that thing, while trying to make it look like we're drawing down our troops in a region where we literally have dozens of other theaters of war where we could be withdrawing troops from that would actually draw down hostilities. But no, we focused on this one, which is highly problematic. And our workaround was everybody get out of the region, you've got 5 days. I mean, notwithstanding the fact that Erdogan did already move militarily against the Kurdish people immediately, and that's why we had to negotiate the ceasefire. Notwithstanding the fact that Trump tried to sort of protect the decision by saying, oh, well, it was, you know, those Kurdish fighters were releasing ISIS agents that were in captivity, and then the next day having that statement being negated by the fact that, no, it was Turkish fighters that were releasing ISIS and al-Qaeda prisoners alongside trying to kill the Kurdish peoples that the United States military is no longer effectively protecting. So all of this was a giant shit show, and it's resulted in a 5-day safe zone and the Kurdish people scrambling, trying to find out where to go. What ultimately will happen with this, it's really a tragic situation, and it's convoluted and complicated and all stems from the fact that the United States just can't seem to not get involved with our military in the Middle East. And that's kind of just been a general problem with American foreign policy for the better part of 40 years. So that's just
great
continuation.
So we've been in Iraq, we've been in Afghanistan, we destabilized Libya, we were involved in the Syrian civil war, we're trying to instigate a fight with Iran, and we're turning a blind eye to the genocide that Saudi Arabia is committing on Yemen.
No, look, here's the thing is we were basically done already with destabilizing all the governments and doing all the coups and installing all the dictators that we wanted in South America by the time we were done with the 70s.
Yeah.
And Vietnam wasn't really popular, so we were kind of shopping around a different continent, you know, for our theaters of war.
You know what else?
And, you know, we got started with the Mujahideen.
Do you really want to know why? Because here's the thing: the reason why Vietnam was actually ended so quickly. I mean, or not quickly, but the reason why Vietnam was getting
Let's
so
solve
much pushback.
Vietnam right now.
The second longest war ever.
No. Hold on. The reason why Vietnam was getting so much pushback from the American people was because of the draft program, and also a lot of people were realizing that it was BS in the first place. Now, of course, Vietnam went on for quite some time, but why there was so much pushback, why there was a large anti-war movement, was because people saw that it was bullshit from the very beginning. the difference between then and now is that, well, you don't.
It's night and day. Tons and tons of things have changed since then.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't
since then.
show troops coming home in coffins
We
anymore.
don't film anything. We don't talk about it. It's
Right.
as if it doesn't happen.
Right. The only thing we
We
basically
only see
get
the
to
football
is,
games where they're there.
Right, or
And then
like
we
that,
yell at
the
people,
green
"How
and
dare
black
you bend a knee?"
images of like missiles coming down,
Yeah.
so that Brian Williams can quote Leonard Cohen and stuff.
How beautiful they are.
Right.
So here's something about this even more insulting. And then on top of it, you have a huge amount of people in America who simultaneously think that now, because of everything that we just talked about, Islam is a religion of hate and violence. And it's so interesting that a country of people, mainly people that say that are generally pretty strong Christians, that have gone in, killed millions of people, destabilized a dozen governments, that we can then, it's just such gaslighting through and through. Just one example in this much bigger picture, that it's like, oh, the people whose families we've killed, whose nation we've destabilized. I mean, people forget. Libya was a really well built up country. I think it was actually the wealthiest country in Africa. Iraq was like a beautiful, looked like Vegas. Everything that you would see in America was in Iraq. All these different things, these used to be. It's as if you took America and turned it into what we think the Middle East is.
Wait,
To
you're
this
talking
point
about
exactly.
Syria. You're talking about Syria.
No, I'm talking more than just Syria.
Yeah, multiple
Sorry.
countries. But to
Yeah.
this point specifically, Libya, the UN had them rated as the highest nation for humanitarian rights of all of Africa.
Yeah.
You're talking about Libya,
They had
right?
you're talking about Libya
Yeah.
under Gaddafi, who was not necessarily a great leader. I mean, he
No.
certainly did not. I mean, wealth inequality was still an issue. There were certainly a number of social issues in the country. But I mean, this is a country we're talking about that had socialized healthcare, which is too expensive for America to figure out. But Libya had it, and the best human rights record on the continent, no less.
So you have all these different things, and you have all these different contexts, and it's like, it's people spitting on people whose family they blew up. It's like when I read some of the comments when Chicago police shoot families on the South Side, and you just read some of the comments of the people that are just like, oh, those stupid black people that didn't. It's the exact same thing. We are destroying portions of the world and blaming the people for being upset. And at the same time, the people that are acting in that way themselves are getting screwed by the same exact people that have money invested both in military-industrial complex funding, but also in prisons, but also in getting people hooked on heroin because they were invested in OxyContin. It's the same people who are extracting the soul of America for profit. They're extracting the lives of the Middle East for profit. We are just resources to them. We are just dollar signs over time, perhaps, whereas they can make billions of dollars and then get fined 2% of that, 3% of that for killing thousands of people. At the same time, all that can happen, and the Democrats will still start impeachment on Trump because Biden was targeted, not because of you, not because of anything else. Have you ever seen the Democrats or in media get as obsessed about regular people's lives as they are with the poor things that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden have to go through now? It's the way that the system is configured in and of itself that is the issue. Everyone's following a path of least resistance, and the only way to overturn it is the same way it's always been, is to win by winning, is for people to be stronger than the system and overturn it.
Yep.
And be concise. And it's going to take more sacrifice than we've gone through now. And I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Right. And again, goes back to another thing. We got to get involved in this 2020 election cycle. Look, I know that politics can be boring. I know politics can be overwhelming. And for a long time, a lot of people, including myself, because I'm not perfect. Last thing I'm going to say is I'm a good person. All this other BS. Man, the hell is that freaking noise? But we've all kind of turned a blind eye to how corrupt our system is. We had the media and comedians basically say for a long time, oh, your vote doesn't matter, or why get involved? I mean, we got a corrupt system anyways. Nothing you do matters. The sad truth is that everything that we do matters. And we got to now step up and fight for each other, because the establishment is going to do whatever it can to keep its infrastructure together. But all it is a paper tiger surrounded by a paper wall. We can knock it down. We can win. We just got to step up and break away from this corrupt system that has been crippling us for decades, has been giving us crumbs, when in fact we've been working hard for decades now on end. No one should work 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. No one should be in student debt. No one should be in medical debt. And for anyone who is in student debt or has medical debt, guess what? It's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. For those who are right now homeless, it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. You have a corrupt system right now that is in place that wants to make you think that everything you do is wrong. No. This election cycle requires everyone now to step up and fight for that better future. And hold on, Jack Smith. Love you all. We need truth now more than ever. And here's the thing, everyone. We need all of you now more than ever. We here at Hard Lens Media, we're trying to create an independent media network that has been seen in Chicago. And we're growing because of all of you. But all of you need to step up too. Whether it's volunteering or talking to your friends, neighbors, co-workers.
Calling your alderman.
Yeah, calling your alderman. Anyone about politics and actually getting involved. Stepping up. Don't be that person who says that they wish they could have helped. Because you know what? You might be that extra push to get things done.